What is up, guys? It is Jack, back up in this bitch with 10 Meters Fitness. Today coming to you guys with another video on fake naturals. I know I talked about it last time, and I'm aware of that. I am, I don't want my channel to become another one of these, fake natural obsessives, okay? But, I thought I'd talk about it because it's still fresh on my mind. And further to that, I've also recently watched Jerry Ward's video. I believe it was called Shut Up About the Role Models, in which he was talking about, he says people who are calling out fake naturals in bodybuilding, need to stop just doing it in bodybuilding, and need to shut up about it because, they probably also support, people in other sports that do it as well, because fake naturals aren't just a thing in bodybuilding, they're actually a part of, all sports. It happens everywhere. So yeah, the question I really seek to answer today is YouTube and the fitness community in general, too concerned with fake naturals? Are we too crazy about it? Are we too hot on it? And I think this is an interesting question. I think that there's a couple different ways to look at it, and I'm going to try and cover those today. Okay, so first talk about, firstly respond to Jerry's video. I think Jerry is fantastic, by the way. I love his BioS3 channel, but this one there's just a couple issues I had with this particular video, I like most of his other stuff, but this one, well, I think the issue with comparing fake naturals in bodybuilding to fake naturals in other sports is that bodybuilding, it's one of the problems that comes along with considering bodybuilding as a sport, because I honestly don't believe it to be a sport. It's far more of really a pageant, which I know makes it sound girly and whatever, but the fact of the matter is that it is really just a macho beauty pageant, really, bodybuilding. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not putting a judgment on it, but that on the surface is what it is, really. Because the things that you train for, in the gym, aren't really what you show off when you compete. And really, the fundamental difference between, I think, and the reason I'm talking about this is because the fundamental difference between your product that you as an athlete provide in each of the sports. I mean, Jerry mentions basketball and cycling, I believe. I mean, the difference is that being made to feel bad or insecure about how good you are in basketball and cycling is dramatically different on a personal level to being told, you're bad at bodybuilding. Because the thing with bodybuilding is, and I'm not talking about competitive bodybuilding, I'm talking about just, as the average gym bro. And because that's the difference is, basketball and cycling are two things that you do. Really, they're things that you go out and do. Whereas bodybuilding is how you look. It's much more, it resonates much more on a personal level. Being told, because you're essentially being told that you look bad, and that's what you identify with personally. That's what you are and who you are. Whereas, really, however seriously you take your basketball or your cycling, you're never really going to take it in a personal way. That's always going to be more detached from how you, identify yourself, as, you know what I mean. So, that's why I don't really think that that's why I think that fake naturals in bodybuilding are much more harmful than these other fake naturals in, say, basketball or cycling, as he was talking about, because it's a much more personal thing. It's really being made to feel insecure about your body is a lot different to being made to feel insecure or about, how well you play a sport. Okay, so that's just what I had to say on that one, really. I'm not trying to start a beef with Jerry or something here. It's just that I thought that was that video got a little, I don't know, I didn't agree with it, right? Okay, so moving forward from there, I want to talk about the people who say, well, another one of the things people say, that people who talk about these fake naturals in bodybuilding and say that we worry about it too much, we talk about it too much, is they say that, you know, the average lifter has no business comparing themselves to elite level athletes anyway, and that even if steroids weren't a thing, that they weren't using them, these guys would still be so a cut above, you know, the rest of the lifting world, because they are the genetic elite also, as well as the fact that they take drugs. So, you know, and they'd still be making people feel insecure about the way they look. Well, the thing with that is that, well, first and foremost, steroids are still therefore an intensifier for that, and what you're going to find as a result of that is that it makes the problem even worse than it would have been anyway, because the difference is more dramatic. But in addition to that, we're not talking just about the genetic elite and the you know, elite athletes. Steroids really distort natural expectations everywhere, really, not just on the bodybuilding stage. You know, there's fitness models who take them as well that we see on supplement adverts. I mean, not all, but some. We see we see, you know, we have this term on YouTube, fake, like YouTube natural, because, you know, the standards for physiques on YouTube has just, you know, because so many people on here take shit, the generic, you know, the general standard for a physique on YouTube is just blown way out of proportion. You know, I mean, you know, I'm in decent shape, right? But I think that I'm probably one of the smallest dudes doing this YouTube thing, you know, around, you know. So, and you know, by all accounts, I think I'm, you know, and I have been told that I'm in, you know, I'm in good shape, right? In addition to that, you've got in Hollywood as well, you see these guys who go through these crazy these actors that go through crazy transformations for, you know, their roles in films. You know, the kind where they make years worth of gains, you know, years worth of gains that would take us as a natural in a couple months, whilst losing body fat, and then feed the public some bullshit story about, you know, how their, you know, amazing trainer got them doing this crazy shit that the people buy into because they don't know any better. But fact of the matter is, it is everywhere. So to say that it wouldn't matter, you know, because people have no business comparing themselves, it does matter, because people believe more people are natural than they actually are. So, like I say, it falsely increases, you know, natural standards to make people feel bad about themselves, or, you know, and essentially just being misled. So, I think it is definitely a need for, yeah, calling them out on this kind of thing. And the reason that I really feel that we need to be on this, we need to be calling people out as fake naturals, is because really, with all these forces that are at work, as long as there are these forces at work, you know, I'm not trying to make it seem a bit crazy or anything, but as long as these forces are at work and are in play, that make people, that are trying to mislead people and make people, you know, create these false standards, I think that as long as these exist, there needs to be that counteractive force. There needs to be, you know, that watchdog, you know, counteractive force to educate people about how prevalent and common steroids are in today's fitness industry and things like that. So that's why I believe, you know, even though going on the comments of people's videos who are supposedly fake naturals and just seeing them called out all the time, I mean, although it can get a bit annoying if, you know what just someone who knows what they're doing, and it's kind of like, oh, well, obviously they're on shit, there's no need to keep talking about it. I feel, you know, for the sake of the people that don't know what they're doing, the newbies, who can really easily be misled, and a lot of the time the way they're brought into the fitness world is, you know, unknowing of steroids, right? So I feel that if we keep being on this, keep being tight about it, it just spread more and more quickly, and less people are going to be misled and end up, you know, falling for the supplement companies' bullshit, where they end up, you know, just buying random products they don't need, you know, because they're convinced that it's necessary to get the results of these guys that, you know, to get the results that they believe they should be getting because of these dramatically heightened standards for what people believe is achievable as a natural. So yeah, that's really, yeah, like I say, why I believe that this stuff is important, that we that calling people out and you know, making people aware to avoid them being misled is very important. Okay, now, can it go too far? Yes, it can. I mean, and I'll explain what I mean by that. I mean, I kind of explained this in my previous video, but this is the thing where, because people really start to use it as like too much of an excuse, or as a way to put people down, you know, unreasonably, because when people say, you know, refuse to acknowledge that someone's transformation, I mean, if they're not natural, right? They kind of they take someone's transformation and they say, you know, oh well, you know, it doesn't count. You can't brag about it because you're on steroids. You know, it wasn't a natural transformation, so you know, oh, it must have been easy. You know, you can't have worked hard for it. Whereas, the fact of the matter is, steroids make it easier, and they allow you to do things, you know, with your training and your diet that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. But at the end of the day, to get a good physique, you still have to work damn hard for it. I mean, to get a great physique, that is, you know, you still have to work damn hard for it, even if you do take shit. And there's the thing also, like, so I think the thing I want you to take away from this is really, it's all good calling people out, and it's something I would encourage. I mean, obviously, be careful with it. You can get yourself sued if you're not, you know, if you're not careful with it, or you're too loud and public with that. But at the same time, you know, give credit where credit is due. And obviously, a lot of these guys that are doing the fake natural thing are doing it because, you know, the way the market is at the minute. You know, the fitness industry with the supplement companies. A lot of them are forced to do it. So I mean, that's why sometimes I have, you know, a little bit of sympathy for them, because a lot of the time it's the only way for them to actually make a career. And I'm sure that a lot of them, if it wasn't this way, you know, if it didn't have to be this way, they would be more honest with people. But because their careers and obviously their criminal records are on the line, because in most places it is illegal to do the steroids that you need to get this, you know, competitive physique in the you know, fitness modeling world and things like this. So yeah, I do have a little sympathy with them as well. So I'd say, yeah, it's perfectly fine to call them out, but give credit where credit is due, alright? Okay, I think that's all I have to say on that today. Sorry, it's another weird, fake natural ranting video, but yeah, I feel this is stuff that needs to be said. So thanks for watching, guys. I have been Jack with 10 Liters Fitness. I'll see you in the next one.